It is estimated that our oceans contain 352 quintillion gallons of water. That is about 97% of all water found on Earth. And today, a global summit on the dire state of our oceans is kicking off here in France to try to save the state of it. Amongst measures up for discussion, a ban on the trawling of the bottom of our seabeds, as well as moves to bolster protections for the world's overexploited marine areas. World leaders attending told to come up with concrete ideas and money to tackle what organisers call a global emergency facing the neglected seas. You can see images coming into us there from the conference now. We're going to cross to the summit, talk to our reporter Antonia Kerrigan, who joins us from there. Antonia, what is the point then, I suppose, of the conference, first of all?
Well, you've said it yourself, the state of the oceans at the moment, call for urgent action. You've got the oceans have gained 1 degree in temperature in just the last decade. They're acidifying at an alarming rate. They're hemorrhaging biodiversity. A third of the world's fish stocks are overexploited. I could go on. And what you have here is a huge mobilisation at the conference. It's the biggest turnout they've ever had, a UN Oceans Conference. But that's the sort of equal and opposite reaction to the huge resistance that there also is to the kinds of changes that scientists are calling for. When you take, for instance, the 30 by 30 pledge, that's the promise that countries made that 30% of the world's oceans would be protected by 2030. Well, right now we're at 8% officially protected, only a third of which, according to NGOs, is truly protected from harmful activities such as aggressive fishing practices. And you have fishing lobbies who are very opposed, of course, to tougher restrictions on where they can fish and how. When it comes to ending plastic pollution, a deal was supposed to be reached in 2024 of a global legally binding treaty to limit plastic pollution. That hasn't happened yet. Those talks have had to be pushed back because they didn't culminate in anything. And that's partly because the petrochemicals and plastics industries are so resistant to any kind of commitments that will commit them to reducing production of plastic. I could go on. There's also the talk of a moratorium on deep sea mining. That might happen, but the reason why there's so much tension around that, of course, is because while other countries are calling for a moratorium, Donald Trump has jumped the gun, issuing an executive order back in April, saying that he wants to unleash the undersea resources. So you can see that there is this massive mobilisation here at the conference, but it's because of these massive, massive challenges.
Antonia, how do they prevent the large number of people, as we can see in the images gathering there, just being a talking shop?
Well, that's the real question. Of course, as is often the case with these things, the final declaration at the end of the week isn't going to be anything that's legally binding. It'll be a set of principles agreed on, if you will. So the idea this week is really to galvanise governments into making announcements, into making commitments, etc. Among the things we're looking out for today specifically is the ratification of the High Seas Treaty. The High Seas Treaty has 116 signatories, but only 32 ratifications, and 60 ratifications will be needed for implementation. Now, that sounds rather bureaucratic. The High Seas Treaty is actually what allows us to put in place rules governing human activities in international waters. International waters are 61% of our oceans, so it really matters that that happens. There's going to be a big drive today for countries to ratify. There's going to be a sort of ratification one-stop shop, and we don't know how many people will join that list, but we're hoping for a big jump forward from that 32. We'll see if it gets to that 60. There's also going to be a push for countries to link their ocean targets to their NDCs. That's their commitments that they make for the COPs. So the idea is to put in a COP-style set of rules in terms of ocean commitments. NGOs will, of course, say much more is needed. That's why we're here all week.
Antonia, thanks very much. Antonia Kerrigan joining us there from that conference. And as we said, Emmanuel Macron is due to speak in the next hour, so we'll bring that to you.